Hello! So I thought I would film my super quick, super easy, everyday hospital makeup routine. So sometimes I'll get here and if there's no one waiting down in the emergency department or anything to be seen, then I can just do my makeup while I'm here, and it takes a few minutes, about 8 to 10 minutes tops. And so I thought that today would be a fun day to film, because sometimes I have time to do it while I'm in the lounge, and it would be just easy to share, especially for somebody who wants something that's light, that's natural, quick on the go, and still makes you look and feel put together. So I'm going to start with concealer. I don't like to wear base. I've got, some problem areas on my skin, but for the most part, I'm okay with that peeking through and with a more natural look. And so my favorite concealer, and this is all drugstore by the way, so it's super affordable and easy to get access to, and I have pretty sensitive skin and none of this breaks me out. So the Maybelline FitMe concealer, so that's one of my favorite concealers. It's super lightweight. This is in the shade Light, and the reason why is because, as you can see, actually my face and my arms are the darkest parts of me, but my neck and my chest are pretty light, and so I tried to match as best as possible. And this also gives me a little bit of brightness since I've got some hyperpigmentation around my eyes and also some scarring. This video may be longer just because I'm talking and doing things at the same time, but when I usually do this routine, it takes me, 10 minutes or less. So I'm just going to take the concealer, and it's pretty lightweight. Also, I apologize because I may need a mirror, so it's easier for me to see with placement and blending. But I'm just going to take this in a triangle form. And one of my best tips is to, where you want the fullest coverage is where you should start. So I want the fullest coverage under my eyes just because I have the most hyperpigmentation there, and I go through these concealers pretty fast, so that's why you may see me dip in a couple of times, but when you first open it, there's usually plenty of product that comes off. And then I'm going to go on the sides of my face where I have some scarring and a little bit of hyperpigmentation right around here, around my mouth. I know a lot of people have redness around their nose. I'll usually just take any excess product I have and I'll blend it in over there, and you'll see how I do that in a minute. But nothing super cute, just getting the concealer on where I feel like I need it. A little bit on the chin because I want some brightness there, and a little bit down the neck just because I do have a little bit of some scarring here and there. Okay. And then once you get that on, then I'm just going to take the best blending tool that I have, which is actually my finger. And I'm going to start blending my face. So the reason why I said put the concealer around your eyes first, or where you want the most coverage first, is because if you let it set a little bit, the higher coverage that you get, and it still blends out just fine. There are some concealers that are super quick drying that won't blend as well, but this is one of those that you have plenty of time for it to set a little bit so you can get higher coverage, but it'll still blend out great. So now I'm just going to take my finger and start blending. So I always start with the face and spread it out, especially getting the coverage where I want. And I have a little bit of redness around the nose, but it's not like my main problem, and so I'll just take any excess product and just kind of work its way around there in case I need just a little bit of coverage. So I'm just going to blend, blend, blend. And again, this isn't going to completely make all of it go away. I don't mind for my skin and its imperfections to peek through a little bit. I like a more natural look, especially for the hospital where I want to feel a little bit put together, but, I don't want to look too glam. And have that all come off on the mask, especially now that we're wearing masks daily, and I think that's really important to think about and consider. So you can also just not do your makeup at all and just put a little something on your eyes. But I figure if I'm going to go ahead and conceal, then I'll conceal everything. So just blending down the neck. And then any excess that I have, I'm going to put down the center of my nose to add a little bit of brightness there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my ring finger because the skin around your eyes is the most delicate, and so the ring finger has the most delicate touch, and so it's the best one to blend out any eye concealer with. So you can see here we're going to start, and I'm just going to kind of start swiping a little bit and then start patting. So that's usually my method of being able to blend, and it makes things faster, and then the longer you do it and the more practice you have with it, the faster you become. I like to spend a good bit of time blending just so there are no harsh lines. And you can see that even though I've got like some pretty bronzy skin, the light really blends into my skin really well. And so I like to just take about a shade and a half lighter, so that way it can work to brighten my face and conceal at the same time. So that has blended out really nice with my ring finger. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And again, I realize that like not everybody will have to conceal this way, but because I've got hyperpigmentation around all of my eyes, this is the way that I do it. But only put concealer where you feel like you need it or where you want coverage, and just go from there. Because you want this to be a more enhanced version of yourself and not feel like you're having to conceal everything, which is why, you know, again, I don't mind showing some of my imperfections. So there we go. Now I feel like I'm all nice and blended. I'll take any excess concealer that I have and just kind of run it on my forehead a little bit, just for a little bit of coverage, not too much. Alrighty. Okay. So now the big thing is to set the concealer, so I'm going to take the Covergirl Vitalist Healthy Powder. Clearly I love this powder. You can see I've already hit pan on it. And I actually use the shade 710. And I'm just going to take one of these brushes, and so this is an e.l.f. powder blurring brush. So it's a duo-fiber brush that's kind of densely packed but not too densely packed, and so that way you can get some good coverage out of your powder. This is not a foundation powder, it's just a regular setting powder, and I like it because I don't like for too much coverage, because I like a more natural look. I do have oily skin, and so I'm just going to pat the concealer first and set that first before I get any creasing, so I don't set in any creases. But I like this type of powder and not a foundation powder because, again, I'm going for a more natural look. I have pretty oily combination skin, so I like to use a lot of powder. For my dry skin girls, you may only need to powder your under eyes, and then the rest can just be fine, and use a setting spray, but it's really going to depend on your skin type. So I like to set the eyes first and foremost, and then I'm going to start setting everything else. So I just like to run the powder over my whole face. So what I do is I press it in first, and then I just blend, then I swirl after I press it in. But first I press it in first, and then swirl and blend. And so I'm going to do the same thing on this side, is press it in first, and then just kind of blend really lightly to make sure there's no harsh lines or powder marks. I'm going to do the same thing with my forehead, is again just pressing it in first and swirl. So it's almost like, you know, Bare Minerals, they say swirl, buff, swirl, tap, buff. Well, this is just going to be pressing it in, and then buffing and swirling. And just take it down the neck as well, just to kind of make sure that everything's nice and blended. And so you can see now that my face matches my neck and my chest area a little bit better. Alright. Because I get a lot of creasing, and I've got, you know, bags under my eyes and lines under my eyes, and that's just kind of a byproduct of, you know, having a job in healthcare and being in healthcare. I'm just going to take like a small little detailed brush. It can be any kind of detailed brush. I don't even know where this is from. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that powder, and this is something that I do for me. Again, for people with more dry skin, you may not want to do this, but for me, I need this little extra help, and I'm just going to take that detailed brush and put a little bit of extra powder. Because I don't like to bake, I also don't have time to bake under my eyes, so this just kind of gives me that extra, you know, setting, and don't have to worry about creasing or anything. Because when I put a thinner layer of powder on, I always get creasing, so this just kind of really seals it in for me. Alrighty, and then I'm just going to kind of brush off any excess powder that there may be on my eyebrows. I'm fortunate to have pretty full eyebrows, so I actually don't have to do a whole lot, but there's so many pencils and stuff out there. I think there's actually an e.l.f. pencil that people really recommend, so definitely try that out. I also really like multi-use products, so here we have got, this is I think a Kate by Rimmel, or Rimmel Kate palette, and it's just super easy. You can see you've got 3 shades. Sorry, it's a little gross because this definitely gets a lot of use. So here is the bronzer, the blush, and the highlighter. So this is in Coral Glow. I love this for my skin tone. It works really well. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I always like to contour my nose because it's kind of a bigger feature on my face, and I like to give it a little bit of shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fun brush. I just like the point, and I know it's a little bit thicker, but it works really well for my nose. You can also take a thinner brush. You just have to practice with it, and you may just want to skip this step entirely, but I like to add a little bit of shaping to my face. So I'm going to take a little bit of product on there, dust off the excess, and then I'm just going to start shaping out my nose a little bit the way that I'm used to. So I basically just kind of take 2 lines and get the bottom, and then I blend it on the sides of the bottom of my nose. So that way it just gives me a little bit more shape, and the concealer that we put down there earlier, just the excess stands out a little bit more. So there's a little bit more shape and definition to what's on the center of my face. And that's really it. It's pretty quick. Now I'm just going to take one of these. So this is one of my favorite contour brushes. And so this is the e.l.f. Angled Blush Brush. The writing is starting to come off. It's that loved. And again, I'm going to take that bronzy color and suck in your cheeks and find where you've got a line. I've kind of got like a natural line, and so I know to follow that. But you can suck in your cheeks, and that's going to be the placement for your bronzer. And I think the key thing is just blending. I actually don't mind a little bit of a line. The main thing that I like to do is don't drag it down because it'll look muddy on your face. Is always just kind of drag it up, and so that's why I'll kind of create the line and then blend up so it can blend into my blush later. So I'm just going to take a little bit more because I like a bit of a stronger cheek. And just blending upwards with it. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Alright, and so now I'm just going to take the blush. It's called Coral Glow. It's a peachy, corally color. I like to start in the apples of my cheeks and then blend back. So the apples of my cheeks. And again, same brush, keeping it real simple because it's all going to blend in together anyway. And towards the back of my cheek. And I like a really blushy cheek. I think it's really pretty and natural and youthful. And again, apple of my cheek and then blending it back. And then I take whatever's excess on there and just kind of run it at the tip of my nose because I like a little more natural, you know, just got out of the sun kissed my face look. So I really like to do that. Okay, I'm happy with that. And so what I would normally do is then I will take whatever the highlighter is, and I like a brighter eyelid just because it makes me feel more awake and put together, and so I'll just kind of take this and run a little eyeshadow brush, just any type of shader brush. This is a mini travel size one by Covergirl that I really like, and I'll just kind of take this color and swipe it on my lid, but I actually want a little bit of a brighter eye, and so this is actually the e.l.f. Shimmer highlighting powder. So that's one of my hacks, is like I love to take a highlighting powder and brush it across the eyes for a youthful look, especially if you find a shade that you really like. So this is a shade that I really like, and it's actually really daunting because it looks super bright and white and shimmery, but I just barely tap my brush in here. I'll do that twice. I've got the brush coated, and then I'm just gonna lightly sweep across my eyelids, and I love how it looks. It looks really pretty and shimmery, and again makes me look and feel more awake. And then I'll just kind of brush it into the inner corner, a little bit more concentrated there. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I think I went a little crazy on that side, but it's okay, it blends out just fine. I think the big thing is not to be so hard on your face, just to let the brushes do the work and have a light hand and just blend. And if you feel like you put too much, you can always blend with your finger. But again, I like a bit of a brighter look, so I don't mind that, especially because it'll come together a little bit more once we put on the mascara and a little bit of contouring in the eye socket. So now I'm going to take the e.l.f. blending eye brush, and this is like literally $1. You can find it anywhere. And I'm going to go back to the bronzer and the blush, and I'm going to tap in to both of those. And so you got some product on there. We're going to tap off again the excess, and then I'm just going to go into the crease of my eye to give it a little bit of definition. And so that way it really ties in the colors on your face too. And again, like once you've gotten practice with this, this doesn't take very long at all. I'm just talking, so it's taking me a little bit longer. So we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Okay, and so I got enough definition, or at least as much as I want. I don't like too much. And now this is where, if I was at home, I would use an eyelash curler, and I definitely recommend using an eyelash curler because it gives your eyelashes a little bit of a boost. But I'm just going to dust off any eyeshadow or powder that may have fallen on them. And now I'm just going to you can take any mascara that you like. I'm just kind of going through some because I bought some, and this one's not my favorite, but it does give me some good length. So this is the Revlon, the Revlon Super Length Mascara, and so, again, don't necessarily, I definitely have some, I prefer volumizing ones, but it does lengthen my lashes. So I'm going to use this one, and I don't think anyone makes a really cute face when they're putting on mascara, so I apologize for that, but just going to put on a coat. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like I always have to open my mouth whenever I put on mascara on my bottom lashes. I'm gonna get another coat. And if you find out that your mascara is drying too quickly within the 3 months that you have it, I'm a contact lens wearer, and you can always put a little bit of contact lens solution in there, just maybe a drop or two to kind of help the formula not be so thick if you're looking for a thinner formula, especially if it's within the time frame where the mascara can still be used, which is 3 months. Otherwise you want to be able to replace your mascara just because it's more hygienic, especially now during the time of the pandemic, especially if you find yourself outside and things. It's just better to replace your mascara because then you're putting that same bacteria back on your eyes, and I don't recommend that. But anyway, I like to use 2 mascaras because I'm a little bit extra, and I like one that's a little bit volumizing. This one is one that they don't sell anymore, and so I just, I figured it's not a point in really sharing, but just one that you like, and I always like to do 2 coats. So I have a little bit of thickness, but again, not too much. It kind of fits in with the more natural look that I like to have. Some people like to put a little definition on the bottom lash line. You can if you want, but I don't think it suits me as well. And the last but not least, your favorite lipstick. You can do a tinted lip balm, a balm stain, a lipstick, a lip gloss, whatever you want. I always like to put on a little bit of a lip color. I like My Lips But Better kind of colors. I'm not sure where this is from, but it's the City Color Be Matte lipstick, and super affordable, but really pretty color, matte look. I like that. It lasts a while, and it doesn't dry out my lips too much, which is why I like it. And sometimes if you don't want full-on lip color, you can just blot your lip color on and then put a lip gloss or a lip balm over it so it's a little bit more comfortable. You have a little bit of color, and it's your own tinted lip balm without you having to buy one. Alrighty, and that is a completed look. So again, super natural, just a little bit enhanced, great for the hospital, especially if you're on the go, and once you get enough practice, it only takes 10 minutes or less, and you can customize it to what you're comfortable with. I'm always happy to give product recommendations if you need any product recommendations, so definitely let me know or leave a comment, so I can either share more videos or share more tips or recommend more products and things that I like to use, especially because being a resident physician or just really anyone in healthcare, you're always so busy, you're always on the go, and it's nice to be able to do a little something for yourself even on the months that are super busy, especially now that we're in a pandemic, and when you're wearing a face mask, because I think many of us have been at home for a while, and it's just nice to feel a little bit put together and do it for yourself. You don't have to do it for anybody else, and that's what I wear makeup for myself. I like, looking in the mirror when I'm washing my hands or something and, feeling like I did something for myself today. So that's it for me.